Alright, so maybe I should clarify. I actually put it in at least a two-dimensional. Two-part verification would be more fine detail inside of your system, spreadsheets, or slides. In terms of your cases, what they said is I couldn't discover this. Right? They get to determine FX the scope on Heisenberg's HT or anything else inside here of these wave functions. These are little loops on a coil or something like that, and it's decaying down. As it decays down, it moves forward, so you get that feedback loop on what goes down, because usually front end, back end, got to process and get that figure 4 or whatever it is. So what are we doing here? What do I want? I want to change accounts. That would be my case. This is the information I've been provided. Like, I'm supposed to be able to handle this and memorize all of this about what's not there for Leviathan Judge. And I don't get a chance to come to these town meetings because right now at this point you've barred me from the situation. So I don't need a fucking lawyer. You've already determined inside of this situation that I'm a silly Billy by the standards, but you don't know how to handle a draconic sorcerer cleric like that because you don't know what the fuck it is you're doing. And there you go, cowgirl. Mellowville is still something that's draconic in terms of the letters of the law in Chinese about best of evidence and describing what would be going on in those theses. What are we doing here? Yeah, I mean, you gotta have that, right? You gotta go in and see those books to get the fucking halo, or do all this other merchant trading shit to get the halo, put it in a key to be like, be honest, I blew out the fucking roof when I did this thing. So, you know. And that's the line. You get this multi-stacking hypercuban system because you want me to detail the information instead of letting AI just run the work. Here I gotta plow this through. You actually gotta take the time to read your backstory, figure out some very fine-tuned. There might be one or two in here that I didn't necessarily post, but I don't give a shit about that because what I'm doing requires somebody else as a reader to get past some of the AI bits. Well, you got to read this and then you'll catch what this is, but you'll still catch it in the same fields as far as what these marshmallows are latest with. When you describe it like that, well, here is evidence. This is what that is, Your Honor. I'm not an expert myself, but you could see from a common sense perspective in terms of a sheets presentation on you versus the town, and this is what they gave you, and that's first perspective. You got it coming to you. And what that can reference inside the situation, because I wouldn't respect you as a court because I can't trust your configuration on those courts, because you're going to say that those aren't problems and somebody else is going to say that those are problems. Let's say my case results about why I should or shouldn't go to do things or be held in contempt of court for saying things like this. You don't think I should be able to bring in the later on cases what this is, but here's where you say my dates are, here's my Facebook line, same equation, Jupyter Notebook. We can cut it out from here if you think that there's enough evidence to come through this about what feed is, because I don't get to bring in my Facebook line right as it is for character evidence what it does. I think a jury based on your shit or appeal a decision on Google's antitrust here about the 7th being a $20 grievance is going to catch you more than anything else about what that is, right? Because you got to know everybody. You got to have an individual specific character code. Why don't you write about people's names and stuff like that? That's who they are. I would be one of them. It's a sacrifice I made not to be anomalous inside of here when I go get my stone mill manuals and say this is what you need this to prescribe to be, and I usually knock these out in a couple of days. Where'd my res? I want this right here, because these actually are going to turn into more sheets. You're going to want to have some kind of link inside of there to tell you what kind of date line you got, right? And you want those to file into certain systems so it's nice and tight and drop down files in A, B, C, Z. If it's not like that, you get this all kinds of friction. And there's some things about needing to know the color on things, about intensity of it, but because it's all a little purple, you got to deal with what that is. And so you get it going. Here I'm working on the Stonemasons Guild, because this is pretty GPT Flash kind of style, I only get in front of the judge what this is. In front of those, if the judge is telling me to shut up right now and cops are in there telling me, well, you're going to get held in contempt of court, well, get fucked. You know, you're telling me I can't bring a video camera in here and play it. First Amendment page of public office and my hat and everything else, my heart on, because I can't help it. This is where it of course it is. That's the whole point behind the system. Try to catch that new version of it because it's a new version of it. And you're going to want to have that storyline narrative worked out and now and then a 4-day system inside of this. But what evidence have they given me to my discovery, especially when I've asked for it 2 or 3 times already, before you change the rules and then give me something to be like, oh, well, now you need a lawyer, because I only trust a lawyer with what the state has on you and what they're going to fucking say to you. And that's ridiculous, because you ain't got the fucking balls to say it. Right, and then do it now. Let's go in the back office and fucking work it out, because that's obviously what you need anyways. What the fuck is any other standard going to do? You take them away from this and it's not some other version of this, you get kicked in the fucking head. You don't utilize the system, you're going to get wrecked for, shadow weaving over here about integrating different versions of the operating manuals in one of these AIs. And you're going to keep it on the fucking CAD. So when I call it out, when we get into some stonemasonry bits on the system, I think I need to change it again. You get 2 or 3 stories running. Because it's this fast. And I can't accept your court as the best of evidence if you're not going to provide me with something that's the scrape inside of that, really. Because that is computed. You can absolutely math and reason this stuff way better if you use that. It might take a little longer, but that's, again, the Flash. You'll get a lot of the figure 4, a lot of figure 3s inside here, this 2-1 binary state where you're closing it all off and putting it all together. That is the JFM method. I mean, you just got to be able to do that, and I don't necessarily need to respect somebody's like, well, then you need to go to the stone mill and do that. And I'm going to beat somebody with a wrench. Right, at least give me to some books where I can actually see the sensors of the kind of stuff. Oh, that's what that is when I said this is how to smoke a blunt in the police station video and get away with it, about being logical in your situation regardless. Just anything. Well, you got it boiled down enough so you're not the biggest troublemaker in the cage, and it was fun. Like, turn around. Get on the other side of the door. I can't. Well, I use words. Is that, I gotta fix it, turn it over, it still doesn't work. Working on the staff. What do we didn't do? Put it to bed tonight. Not one wizard out there, a little older, kind of knows. But what would be? I need to listen to some asshole's bullshit while they just tell me to step off of it. When, okay, I've grade rock, I've sat on a stone mill line before, I've pushed them through. That's not the problem, but, when you understand that problem, then give me the Director of Information Technology spot about what kind of gear limit I need, because I might be able to get it from here with a certain set of passcodes. And when you say stupid shit to me like, oh, it can't live in the light of the system like that, that's a straight up fucking lie. I mean, if you can do numbers, then you can describe the weights and scales on why you're going to argue the cut of the boss of the board factor, because you come down and prove it. Fix the chains and rails. May not be perfect, kind of ugly, bust your knuckles a couple times, but fuck it, No, I mean, so when I'm talking, I'll definitely catch a connect to, if I can stay more than 5 minutes in the box. There's no way I don't. I thought I had stone cutting on this one. Maybe it was the other one. I'm not going to get the Kessa statue from the Masons tonight, I guess. But, yeah, I'm just coming through the runs on the file, stealing everything. And I can't. I can only read my stuff so many times. If, somebody says, oh, well, you should go watch the bench trial, right? No, don't fucking watch the bench trial. The whole thing is folly because, again, I've already beat the judge. That's why the DEA, they won't hand me the information as it was. They won't give me the chance to argue the situation because it's not part of the case yet. We're still trying to decide whether it even is a trial or not. And when I asked for a trial from the get-go, And I said no, and I'd fire my lawyer because they were just going to keep doing that through when I can obviously say there might be somebody fire out there that would represent me. Now, I don't think that there is, and I'm not trying to kick over every fucking appeals in the situation, which was the point about me keeping it quiet and only saying that it was a mistrial, but that's enough to piss them off across the board. So let's make it a contempt of court. I'll just lay down the bench, just right, lay it over nice and soft. What are you going to do? Let me get away with it, silly boy? Fuck you.